Good evening, dear Medyascope viewers. Welcome to This Week in Turkey. This evening, our guest will be Melek Önder. Melek Önder is a spokesperson for the We Will Stop Femicides platform, a women's advocacy platform. We will be talking about how the pandemic has impacted male violence against women, as well as the recent Twitter initiative, Men Should Know Their Place, where thousands of women in Turkey reversed the phrasing of common sexist expressions. But first, let's take a look at the coronavirus-related developments of the week. As of June 11th, the death toll from the coronavirus in Turkey has reached 4,763. The total number of confirmed cases is 174,023. Here are the developments of the week.
Turkey continues to ease coronavirus restrictions. As of June 9th, the partial lockdowns applied to people above 65 and under 18 have been eased. Senior citizens have been allowed to leave their homes between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. every day. As for the youngsters under the age of 18, they're now allowed to leave their homes anytime as long as they're accompanied by their parents. Among other easing measures, Turkey is extending the closing hours of cafes and restaurants from 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. Theaters, cinemas, concert halls, and other cultural venues will be allowed to reopen starting on July 1st, whereas marriage registration halls on June 15 and wedding saloons on July 1st. On June 11th, Health Minister Fahrettin Koca has said that the number of confirmed coronavirus cases has been declining in Istanbul and Izmir, but there has been an increase in confirmed cases in certain provinces in central Anatolia and southeastern regions. This rise is partially related to higher mobility, but also stemmed from the fact that people fail to follow rules regarding face masks, hygiene, and social distancing, Koca said. The minister also wrote on Twitter that the average age of newly infected patients is 36, whereas the average age of people who died of the virus is 71. The idea that the virus has weakened is risky. What is normal is precautions, he wrote. Moreover, the Turkish Super League competition is set to resume behind closed doors following an almost 3-month break. League leader Trabzonspor will play an away game at Göztepe, and Fenerbahçe will host Kayserispor on June 12th in the first games after the league was suspended on March 19th. The games will be played without spectators, and fans will not be allowed to gather near the venues. However, Turkish Football Federation Chair Nihat Özdemir said that fans could be allowed in the stadiums after mid-July if allowed by the government.
The parliament has passed 2 bills allowing guards to carry weapons and detain suspects.
The downtown and neighborhood guards will have the authority to demand people identify themselves, to use force and carry weapons, and to apprehend suspects. The opposition objected to the legislation, stating that it empowers an underqualified force and will lead to human rights violations and a further erosion of freedoms. You cannot give someone a gun and send them into the street with broad authority after 40 days of training, Republican People's Party deputy Engin Altay said. People's Democratic Party lawmaker Ömer Faruk Gergerlioğlu also criticized the level of guards' education, saying they would only have a few hours of training regarding human rights. The opposition has also voiced concerns that the force, which operates at night, would act as morality police in line with the government's conservative and religious values. The guards, known as bekçi, traditionally guarded neighborhoods and parks and were armed only with batons and whistles. The force was abolished and folded into the police in 2008, but Erdogan's government revived it following a failed coup attempt in 2016.
On June 8, police detained and arrested 2 journalists, Tele1 Ankara correspondent İsmail Dükel and Oda TV Ankara news editor Müyesser Yıldız. The 2 journalists were arrested as part of an ongoing military espionage case launched by the Ankara Chief Public Prosecutor's Office.
Police detained Yıldız as part of an investigation by Ankara prosecutors into alleged political and military espionage, according to a report from Oda TV. That report said that police confiscated all the digital devices in Yıldız's home, including those that belonged to her husband and son. Tele1 chief editor Merdan Yanardağ tweeted that police took Dükel from his home at 7:30 a.m. and said the prosecution ordered him to be detained for 4 days. Authorities arrested the journalists as part of an espionage investigation surrounding communications with EB, a member of the Turkish military identified only by those initials, who is also in custody, according to the pro-government Sabah Daily. According to Sabah, Yıldız allegedly made calls with criminal content to EB regarding Turkey's military activity in Libya using a phone registered to her name. Sabah reported that Yıldız is accused of 29 separate actions involving EB that could constitute military crimes. That report said that Ducal was detained as part of the same investigation, but did not specify the exact nature of the allegations against him. 3 other Oda TV journalists are currently in prison pending trial for allegedly violating the country's intelligence laws by exposing the identity of a Turkish intelligence officer who was killed in Libya.
A spontaneous Twitter campaign started on June 3rd with the hashtag erkekyerinibilsin, men should know their place, where women gave men a taste of the sexist remarks and misogynistic proverbs which they hear almost on a day-to-day basis.
The trend was launched when Twitter user Rook posted, "My husband can work if he wants," an allusion to an often heard saying by men who try to drive home the point that they allow their wives to work. Replies to the tweet poured in, repeating familiar sentences with the roles reversed. Musician Gaye Su Akyol started the hashtag "Men should know their place," and this initiative snowballed into a trending topic. Hundreds of thousands of tweets ridiculed male opinions, rejecting the achievements of women, drawing attention to the challenges of harassment, inequality, and discrimination that women across Turkey face. He was wearing mini shorts, one woman tweeted, referring to a rhetoric that women who wear short skirts and shorts are to blame if they are sexually harassed. "The most beautiful career of a man is fatherhood," another one tweeted, criticizing the gender roles that give women only a motherhood role in life. Opposition politicians and local municipalities also joined in on the campaign. "We are going to put up men from each constituency in key posts so that men can start being actors in politics, not mere accessories," tweeted Canan Kaftancıoğlu, the Istanbul chair of the Republican People's Party. Istanbul's CHP-held Şişli municipality tweeted that they were considering the launch of blue buses so that men can commute without harassment, mocking the AKP initiative of women-only pink buses.
This evening, our guest is Melek Önder. Melek is a spokesperson for the We Will Stop Femicides platform, a women advocacy platform. Hi, Melek. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Hi, thank you.
So before we talk about the ways in which women in Turkey have been affected by the pandemic, I'd like to speak about the Twitter initiative, which began on June 3rd, where tens of thousands of women from Turkey poured out their fury against sexism with the hashtag "Men Know Your Place." So women gave a taste of the sexist everyday language they face, the misogynistic proverbs which they hear almost on a daily basis, and mocked the political statements as well that discriminate against women. So in your opinion, why did this initiative gain so much momentum and received such widespread response? What does it reveal and what does it reflect in terms of what women in this country are feeling and evoking at this moment?
The trend was launched last week, as you said, and who goes by a single name, I didn't remember, but he posted, "My husband can work if he wants," and also retweeted more than 10,000 times. And also this trend was a different and good way to describe the experienced women and the violence they face every day, because it has been spoken for days, because the violence and sexist expressions we face are every area of our lives. And also we see that our main strength is our organized struggle to act together. And this trend was important as it demonstrates that all women meet in daily life. The reason why it has spread so much this year is that women no longer remain silent, and also because of their growing struggle. And the campaign reflects the women's frustration at the lack of the accountability for the violence we encounter in every domain, the sexist statements. And also I think it is important because the hashtags show how women can find ways to resist when the usual methods of protest are limited because of the corona days. Most of the time we couldn't get out of our homes, but we saw that we find some ways to make our protests and saying something using by Twitter. And also it is very important for women to show their reflections about these sexist expressions, because we live these in every day and in every part of our life, unfortunately. And also men were shocked when they see these things. And also we saw on the Twitter. And also I think it's a very effective way to reflect our opinions.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean the creativity and the humor is quite marvelous, and also the fact that it reveals the ubiquitousness of this the sexism that women that is so intrinsic to the Turkish language as well. But not everyone was amused, as we saw. Women and Democracy Association, vice chaired by President Erdogan's daughter, lambasted the initiative, saying it was against the values of society, and later they also said that it was against our religious values. So while Kadem has been targeted by conservative policies or politicians before, here they validate the very mentality that women are denouncing, using religion like the ruling party often does when it wants to target certain groups or actions. So how does your platform manage such ruptures within the solidarity of women's movements, especially when women's organizations stay in line with these oppressive policies?
Yeah, for us, the main concept is equality, and we are not surprised this statement, academic statement, but we struggle to ensure gender equality for a world that we are living in an equal world, and because only such women will not be exposed to violence just because they are women. And only after that we can talk about justice. On the other hand, Kadem has preferred to use somewhat concepts such as justice and gender justice rather than clear concepts such as equality. We know before statements before this issue. And when we look at from this point of view, it is not a new and surprising statement, but I would like to and also state that it's important that women from all segments have a place in the struggle. And also conservative women change and with all women and claim their modern rights. And also we should not ignore this issue, I think. And also our struggle for equality includes all segments of women. Every time we are saying that, whole women can come and join our struggle and our platform. And also the problems we have as women are common, and also therefore our struggle is also common. Because of this reason, all women can participate in and also contribute to our platform without any discrimination. And also we say that it's against these oppressive policies. Only if we are staying together and fighting against this, only we can achieve a successful things. And also we know that, we saw that in last days, and also nowadays we know that. So it is the, our slogan is we will never walk alone, and it is the important slogan in our struggle. And we are saying that nobody will never walk alone, and we are fighting and struggle together. And I think this will make us strong, and we are become against this whole part of this, not only these issues, but also other part of the oppressive policies.
Melek, now I'd like to speak a little bit about the pandemic and how the pandemic has affected women in Turkey. Can we perhaps first talk about the ways in which certain gender inequalities have exacerbated, have increased during this period?
Yes, these days we know that these are the extraordinary times for whole world, not only for our country but whole world. But however, this period which everyone should stay home, and also this causes different kinds of difficulties for women. Women must stay at homes where they are abused the most, and also along with the practices such as quarantine, isolation, women particularly face more threats of domestic violence, unfortunately. And also we published a report, maybe you saw it, according to this report, they are saying that women who have reached our platform for said that they had to giving up their complaints because they are afraid of to leave the house because of the corona, because there's outside the coronavirus and inside the domestic violence. But when they returned home from their universities, and also they had noticed that the increase in violence against women at home, or when the perpetrators were 6 or old, they had a hard time deciding to apply for a removal from home during these corona days. And also because of these reasons, women had to sometimes had to postpone taking the legal action in the matter of the coronavirus. And also, as I said before, we published a report and we achieved different kinds of the approvals from the different kinds of the states in Turkey, and we are observing that there's a huge increase in the number of women asking for support by reaching our application in number, support line number. And also it is a huge increase because it is a 55%. There's an increase by 55%. And also the most common reason for applications was the physical violence. And also the other part is the cyber violence also increasing at the other time. And also, as you know, maybe we talk about later in Italy, but women have been mostly killed in their houses most of the time. And also the murderers are the men close to them, because houses are the places where men can pressure women. And also houses are tried to be detached from the society. And also houses are also, on the other hand, houses are the places where gender roles, femininity and masculinity are mainly reproduced, because women had to work at the same time. At the same time, they had to wash the dishes, and also they had to cook, clean the houses, and also interested in their children. And also they had to do many things at the same time. And also it's hard time for the not only the physical violence, but also we know that the psychological violence is also has some effect on the woman in this corona.
So has the state how has the state responded to this new situation? Have they implemented new policies that would reflect this increase in domestic violence?
Unfortunately, in Turkey, most of the time we said that, and also we also saved the solutions. We published a guide during the corona days, how this, what the state and also the woman can do during these corona days. And also most of the time we saying that using these arguments to government make pressure to do something. But unfortunately in Turkey, as you know, other countries such as France or Italy state their additional and urgent packets during these days. But unfortunately our government and has not been released any urgent or additional package against violence against women. Only there's something happened. Some ministries announced the WhatsApp line numbers, and also, as you know, KADES application also is important during these days. But unfortunately, Interior Minister hasn't publicly announced this application. We said that we have this application and it is the important application because women can use this application without calling someone else, only clicking clicking, and also they can call police or gendarme. But even we have this application already. The Interior Ministry hasn't announced this effectively. And also they said that we decrease the domestic violence, and also they are announced that there's a decrease in femicide. I will tell the real number of the femicide, unfortunately, but the Interior Minister announced the femicide number, but there's a huge difference between our reports and the ministry reports.
Yes, and I think during this period also, not only did the government not respond to the increase in femicides and generally speaking domestic violence, but there was also an amnesty bill that was passed at the end of March, I think, which also, liberated perpetrators of this type of violence. And as a matter of fact, I think that unfortunately 3 women were killed as a result of these releases. So what are the numbers? What are the numbers coming into your platform at this time?
Yeah, at this time, 10 women were killed in just 10 days of June. I think this is a very huge number. Every day, a woman were killed in a country, in Turkey. And also it was revealed this month that 17-year-old İrem Bahçeli did not commit suicide, but she was killed by her family. And also during the pandemic, women are mostly killed in their homes. With the announcement of normalization, women's murders increased in June. I will tell the May and the April numbers, but first I want to mention these June numbers because last week everybody remembered that every day a woman killed, Ayşegül and also Miray and etc. And also Hatice Çelik was killed in front of his children. And also life of women is not normalized in this process. Women are killed in the middle of the street, at work, in front of their children. And also firearms are mostly used by these men, and also women killed by whom they are married and whom they are rejecting, refusing, or not knowing. And also we are saying that individual armaments should be banned as soon as possible because these guns kill the woman. And also last month in May, there was a 21 femicide, but we have the 18 suspicious woman death. And also we noticed that the suspicious woman death is increasing in Turkey. And also this is an important deal, we are thinking, that because as we have explained in our reports for a while, there's a serious increase in the number of these suspicious women that presented as suicide or natural death, and the number of women found suspicious death. And this kind of that suspicious woman that unfortunately can be even more challenging than femicide, because we don't know if the woman killed by a man or died such a natural way. And it is necessary to reveal whether women are killed or whether they are actually killed by an accident, whether they commit suicide. We want to know. And also this month, as you remember, Aleyna Çakır suspicious death was a very come on the agenda. And also we know that Aleyna Çakır has been subjected to violence several times before. And also by the man she was with, and filed a criminal complaint about this man. But we know that these suspects were released twice, and also despite this compliment. And also we said that Ümit Uygun should be arrested until the suspect of the Aleyna''s death is clarified. And we want to say that we will not let any suspicious death of woman in the dark. Because, as I said before, as in Şule Çet, in Aysun Yıldırım, we have to fight against this darkness, such a darkness, because they trying to close the cases, but the woman's struggle on its only have achieved some penalties for these issues. So because of this reason, we know that some suicides and also after that announced as a femicide. We have to be careful, and also whole in government and also whole representatives must be very careful about it. And also we know that also this month also women are killing in not only in their homes but also in the streets. But in April we see that most of the women were killed in their homes. Such ratio, right, that 80% of the people were killed in their homes in April. And also this was a huge number, but nowadays we are so that with this normalization, not only killing in their homes, but also in the streets, at work, all etc. And also we are saying that they have to, women, and we know that, as I mentioned before, women postpone their exercise of their rights in quarantine process. But that with the normalization process, women will start to seek more rights and make their complaints. And we want to warn the government once again from here. In this process, the threat of violence that women can face could be increased. And also you have to prevent it, and also you have to prevent more femicides, because as we mentioned before, the number is increasing clearly. And also the Interior Minister said that between a time period there was a 32 femicide, but according to our data, it was a 52 femicide. And also we are announcing all of the name of this woman, and also we are sharing the whole woman's stories. But the Interior Minister is not open their data, and also we don't know which women are included in this data and which are not including in this data. And also we are asking that who in this data you are not including in. And also you have to we know it's important to government taking to and also counting these data, because most of the time we are saying that the platform only collecting these data, and also government has to collecting and sharing and analyzing and bring some solution about this issue. It's important, we know, but you have to also share the names and also share your how can I say meaning of the femicides, what is counting in and also not counting in. Also it is important because other time you are closing the cases, and also your femicide become something, it is decreasing and we don't have to fight against it. Become something like that because of this issue, and also data is important.
Yes, so again, in this process as well, you haven't the ministry hasn't been very transparent, and it's very difficult in that sense to fight against it. But the matter is urgent, and women are fed up, and it's time for the authorities to listen to the work of platforms such as yours, and to take the measures that are necessary to apply the Istanbul Convention in its full capacity. Yes, Melek Önder, thank you so much for joining us and for enlightening us on this.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The 18th International Fillmore Women's Film Festival on Wheels has started today and will continue online on the festival's website until June 22nd.
This year, the festival will host 38 films from tens of countries that will meet with the audience in the right-based cinema, women's cinema, Our Bodies Are Ours, Sex, Gender, Sexuality, Feminist Frame, Feminist Memory, and consecutive film sections. The festival will also hold rights-based cinema and women producing art and culture locally panels, make your own movie workshop, Q&As with directors and crews, and forums. All events and film screenings during the festival can be watched free of charge. The closing ceremony of the festivals will be held on June 22nd with the Golden Okra Awards.
That's all from This Week in Turkey. See you next Friday at 9 p.m. Good night.